Thanks, Tracy. And I just, before I begin, have to preface that it's because of that Masters in Public Administration that I'm going to have to leave almost immediately after my presentation. I apologise. So if people do have any follow-up questions, my contact details are available and I'd be more than happy to have any discussions down the track. So I'm going to present on data from the current waste and recycling infrastructure needs analysis, which is being used to develop a New South Wales waste and resource recovery infrastructure strategy 2017 to 2021. For Waste Less Recycle More 1, there was a clear and significant shortfall in resource recovery infrastructure throughout the state. As we get closer to achieving our targets, we must refine our infrastructure development strategy, which is obviously what we're currently developing. The EPA engaged KMH to develop the infrastructure needs analysis. Our 2015 infrastructure needs analysis helped inform the development and approval of Waste Less Recycle More 2. It's now being informed by data collected through the Waste and Resource Reporting Portal, and it's also informing the design of grant funding programs. EPA grant programs have attracted a wide range of private and local government proposals. We now need to work with regional groups and share our infrastructure needs with the private sector. Our approach to assessing the infrastructure need was to classify and define resource recovery facility types based on the materials they process. It also included developing an asset register of all waste and resource recovery facilities in New South Wales, checking how much they process of each type of material. We projected waste generation by sector and facility type from 2011 to 2021 and checked that against actual generation in 2014. Then we've calculated the gap in tonnes and number of facilities between what we have and what we need. So over the past 10 years, the amount of waste recycled across our economy has more than doubled, from 5.3 million tonnes in 2002-2003 to 10.8 million tonnes in 2010-2011. An independent infrastructure needs analysis done by GHD in 2012 found that most of the current infrastructure is near or at capacity, and further investment is needed to boost recovery. Our recycling rate has jumped from 45% to 63% overall across the state. Over this time, there's been significant investment in new recycling infrastructure. Across the state, we have more than 280 facilities that sort, process and recycle waste that is used in manufacturing locally, interstate and increasing overseas. Despite the increases in recycling though, 40% of red lid bins still contain food and garden organics that can be separated and processed in compost and other products. And the red bin still contains 25% dry recyclables. And business waste is full of recyclable materials, nearly 70% by weight. Some details to note about the needs analysis. Our needs analysis is based on information provided by facility owners and operators between 2013 and 2017. This does still need some checking at the local level. The projections are based on the 2011 tonnes per person data, which has been weighted using individual council growth projections. It assumes waste generation rates constant over 10 years from 2011 to 2021. Waste avoidance has balanced the increase. It also assumes New South Wales achieves its targets for diversion of waste from landfill, so approximately 75% overall. Landfill drops to 4.6 million tonnes per annum of the 20 million tonnes per annum of waste generated, down from 6.1 million tonnes per annum in 2014-15. It assumes relatively high levels of source separation will be achieved, only 4.4 million tonnes per annum of mixed waste treatment. The focus is on first point of receival facilities, but we do recognise that secondary value-adding infrastructure is likely to be as important. The gap is conservative, as we have assumed facilities with grant or planning approval will actually go ahead. So this chart shows, This chart shows projected waste generation in 2021 by facility type across New South Wales. This is represented by the dark column. The light coloured version of each bar shows current processing or receival capacity to 2021. You can see where the darker bar is taller, that represents a gap in processing or receival capacity. However, there are some anomalies which I'll detail region by region in the following slides. For example, the facilities may exist and have the capacity, however, logistics such as transport may mean waste from a particular location cannot be recovered by that particular facility. Diversion at source, for example, optical sorting of glass from clubs and pubs, requires transport and warehousing, and sometimes value-adding processes, which are often interstate or overseas, or even co-located with manufacturing processes. Non-recycling covers both landfill and energy recovery. You can see that the landfills currently operating a licence to receive more waste than they will need to receive by 2021, assuming diversion targets are met. However, major landfill and transfer station capacity is concentrated among very few local government and private operators. Very little direct energy recovery, not RDF manufacture, is currently in place. Two to three that would meet this need are planned but not yet approved. There is sufficient capacity for recycling of C&D waste in the Sydney metro area and to a lesser extent in the Hunter and Illawarra, but there's a gap in the regions. Recent private funding and Waste Less Recycle More funding for non-putrescible waste, MRF treatment of dry mixed wastes, means we have sufficient capacity, but a lot of it is still being developed and some may still fall over. There is probably sufficient packaging MRF capacity for 2021, depending upon the impact of the container deposit scheme and how much material gets diverted from MRFs. There is a clear need and lack of pipeline projects for new mixed waste treatment facilities. That's 978,000 tonnes per annum, and these facilities may take considerable time to develop. I'll now go through region by region. So for the Sydney waste region, the market is responding well to meet the needs of primarily commercial inert waste through C&D waste processing and non-put MRF. The capacity of packaging MRF is close to projected need. Value adding of recovered materials presents the bigger challenge. So facilities that purchase or accept recovered materials that generally have a value and are managed outside the waste regulation framework. This includes small-scale on-site waste treatment systems for composting, vermicomposting and compaction. Some capacity for energy recovery may need to be developed depending on the uptake of RDF manufacture and export. There are still clear gaps for mixed waste treatment and putrescible organics processing. At a scale of 50,000 tonnes per annum, we need up to 5 additional FOGO facilities. Some existing and planned FOGO capacity in the Central West might be further developed to address some of this need with transfer. At a scale of 100,000 tonnes per annum, we need up to 6 additional mixed waste treatment facilities. Given the lack of suitable sites in and around Sydney, fewer larger facilities are more likely. Sorry? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. So now I'll just skip over that one. So the Hunter and Central Coast. Can I just see who is from this region? Great, thanks. So a lack of economies of scale in this area mean a shortage of facilities for source-separated C&D wastes. Considerable new capacity approved for non-putrescible waste recovery means need almost met if all goes ahead. Some capacity for energy recovery may need to be developed depending on the uptake of RDF manufacture and export. Lots of established capacity for garden organics processing, but industry is struggling with approvals for putrescible organics processing. Much hinges on the approval construction of FOGO capacity at tea gardens. That's shown in the mid-waste slide, Awaba and Buttonderry. These would provide sufficient putrescible organics processing capacity if they all went ahead. Upper Hunter would still need a facility due to transport distances. There's large amounts of landfill capacity, particularly for Newcastle and Central Coast, making the business case for mixed waste treatment difficult. significant shortfalls of mixed waste treatment capacity and no pipeline of projects. For the next several slides, it may seem like I'm repeating myself. I'm not, but there is quite a bit of crossover in the regional areas. Who here is from the mid-north coast? Of course you are, John. So the capacity for resource recovery in C&D and other inert waste is generally low outside of the metro levy area. Some councils have procured good packaging MRF capacity from capable private contractors. Organic recycling needs of the region are well serviced in most areas. The result is distorted by new approved planned capacity at Tea Gardens servicing the Hunter, which will address the FOGO gap in the Hunter. And despite excellent past examples of regional mixed waste treatment facilities, Remondis and biomass solutions, there remains a need for new and additional capacity, particularly in the south of the region. Northern Rivers. Anyone? Great. So the capacity for resource recovery of C&D and other inert waste is generally low outside the metropolitan levy area. Some councils have procured good packaging MRF capacity from capable private contractors. With approved capacity at Tweed, expanded capacity at Lismore and capacity at Grafton, the need for putrescible organics processing capacity is met. The region could be served by one small mixed waste treatment facility with one energy recovery facility or RDF plant. Northern Inland. Okay. The capacity for resource recovery of C&D and other inert waste is generally low outside the metro levy area. Some organised councils have procured good packaging MRF capacity from capable private contractors and not-for-profits, but there is still a shortfall of capacity overall. With approved capacity at Tamworth, expanded capacity at Moree and capacity at Armidale, the need for putrescible organics processing capacity is met. The region could be served by one small mixed waste treatment facility with one energy recovery facility or RDF plant, but material would have to come from across the entire region. Central and Western New South Wales. Anyone? Okay. The capacity for resource recovery of C&D and other inert waste is generally low outside the metropolitan levy area. Despite the lack of listed packaging MRF, councils in this region have found it more cost-effective to transport commingled packaging to Sydney for processing. This gap is likely to be addressed by Sydney capacity. Although there is more than sufficient putrescible organics processing capacity in the region, most of it's being used to service Western Sydney and the Blue Mountains. There's new capacity approved for Dubbo. Better transport logistics and transfer facilities would allow this region to service more of Sydney's bulk resource recovery needs. The eastern part of the region could be served by one small mixed waste treatment facility with one energy recovery facility or RDF plant. Southern Council's region. Okay. Capacity for resource recovery of waste is generally low outside the metro levy area. Some large C&D recyclers in Illawarra and Shoalhaven have large amounts of spare capacity and should meet the ongoing need. Existing MRF operators have a long history in the region and are balancing supply and capacity. Although there is sufficient putrescible organics processing capacity shown in the region, there is nothing yet in place south of the Shoalhaven, and several smaller facilities or transfer arrangements are still required. The region could be served by two small mixed waste treatment facilities with one energy recovery facility. The one large energy recovery facility approved for the area is more likely to draft RDF from Sydney, so an additional facility could be justified. Southeastern. The data quality is actually quite poor for this region, so there's probably more going on here than is recognised in the slide and what I'll talk about. The capacity for resource recovery of C&D and other inert waste is generally low outside the metro levy area. Some councils have procured good packaging MRF capacity from capable private contractors and not-for-profits. Other than Compost in Cooma, there is a notable lack of organics processing capacity in this region and also in the ACT. Note that Woodlawn capacity has all been assigned to the Sydney region. However, it's also well located to serve this region. It needs to be considered in the context of ACT planning process, which is currently underway. So, for example, material from this region goes to ACT packaging MRFs. Riverina Eastern. Anyone? Okay. Capacity for resource recovery of C&D and other inert waste is generally low outside the metro levy area. Some councils have procured good packaging MRF capacity from capable private contractors and not-for-profit organisations. With approved and existing capacity at Wagga Wagga, the need for putrescible organics processing capacity is effectively met. The region would have to cooperate with Ramrock to establish one small mixed waste treatment facility with one energy recovery facility or RDF plant. Riverina, Western and Murray. The capacity for resource recovery of C&D and other inert waste is generally low outside the metro levy area. Packaging MRF capacity is over the border in Victoria. Despite approved capacity at Albury, there is still a small need for putrescible organics processing capacity. The region would have to cooperate with Ramrock to establish one small mixed waste treatment facility with one energy recovery facility or RDF plant. So that covers off what we've established through the needs analysis. As I mentioned, we do still need to do some further consultation, but what I'll do now is I'll talk about what funding is available in the next round of Waste Less Recycle More. So under infrastructure, there's funding available under the major resource recovery infrastructure. So it's planned to open those grants in September 2017 and then again September 2018. So there's individual grants of $1 million to $5 million for private sector and not-for-profit, and $1 million to $10 million for councils to accelerate and stimulate investment in new waste and recycling infrastructure. Eligibility is councils, industry, business and not-for-profit organisations. The Resource Recovery Facility Expansion Enhancement Program, there's a total of $8 million with individual grants from $100,000 to $1 million to cover up to 50% of project capital costs to expand and or enhance existing licensed waste management facilities in New South Wales. We anticipate opening this in August 2017 and then again in August 2018. For organics, there's the grants infrastructure large and small. There's individual grants of up to $5 million available to reduce food and garden organics. The anticipated opening is June 2017. The organics collection system, individual grants of up to $1.3 million to fund new or enhanced local council household curbside collection services for food and organic waste. In terms of eligibility for this one, it's currently local councils, but it's under consideration and it may be expanded further. The organics market development, there's $4.5 million available to develop new markets and expansion of existing markets to support the increase in supply of recycled food and garden organics. Stream 1, product quality, there's $10,000 to $50,000 open for continuous application. Under Stream 2, with market development, there's $50,000 to $500,000 as part of a competitive grant process. In regional delivery, there's the Better Waste and Recycle Fund. So there's $39 million available over the next 4 years. So this is ongoing for a range of projects to improve recycling, tackle litter and illegal dumping. There's also the funding for regional collaboration. This is open to regional groups of councils to plan infrastructure and develop and deliver regional waste strategies. There's also the Landfill Consolidation and Environmental Improvements grants with $5 million available, and local government is eligible for this funding. So we have, in terms of next steps, we're looking to engage with individual ROCs to refine and finalise the modelling. We are also considering prioritising funding to support the infrastructure investment designed to fill the gaps that we've identified through the needs analysis. We've written a draft investment prospectus, which we're hoping to publish in July, August. We're using this needs analysis to inform the development of a New South Wales waste and recycling resource recovery infrastructure strategy, and we'll be writing a draft for publication with the prospectus. So we really want to talk to you, and we invite feedback, in particular when we circulate these draft strategies. Thank you.